We are delighted to be joined today by Dr. Zishan Zia, CEO and co-founder of Retrocausal, an innovative company designed through the lens of artificial intelligence to provide higher quality and deeper insights for today's manufacturer. Retrocausal delivers an AI-enabled software platform that helps assembly operators avoid mistakes. It enables industrial and quality engineers to continuously improve processes, and it better equips managers with tools to track production, to make data-driven decisions. We will dive into Retrocausal's award-winning Pathfinder platform, a software that uses cameras to understand manual assembly activities and leverages worker empowerment technology to provide real-time guidance and analytics. Zishan, it is a pleasure to have you with us here today. We very much look forward to our conversation.
Same here. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate the opportunity.
Great. And as I was researching Retrocausal and looking into the fantastic offerings and just the journey that the company has come through in such a short amount of time, I really am very interested to know what really inspired you to start Retrocausal.
Yeah, absolutely. Me and my co-founders, we used to work at the augmented reality platform company, right? And we shipped the augmented reality hardware platform as well as software, and we got the opportunity to work with quite a few frontline worker use cases. We got the opportunity to see how manufacturers were using augmented reality, how construction, folks in construction used it, how folks in in medical training used it, and that kind of compelled us to we were able to listen to some of their feedback. They liked augmented reality. At the same time, they didn't want to put these bulky devices on their operators' heads. So they really liked the AI piece of it that was able to understand what operators were doing. At the same time, they didn't want to write a ton of code to be able to build these apps. So that's what we set out to do. We said, hey, look, we are going to decouple the AI that is focused on worker from that big bulky device, and set out to help frontline workers become more productive and help folks that build processes around frontline work make those processes more efficient, and slowly basically converge to just focusing on discrete manufacturing. And here we are.
That is wonderful. I love how you really focus on the frontline operators, right? And really wanted to empower them. I think what the day and age that we find manufacturing in today, where workforce disruption is the norm, and it's very difficult to find labor and to retain top talent. I think that as we're bringing on temporary workers or new employees and embedding them into the operation, having augmented reality, having artificial intelligence to help aid them and to help foolproof their operation is very timely and really essential to manufacturers today. Can you share a bit more about your technology and your platform and your approach and how it's helped other companies and other manufacturers leverage that with the workforce disruption that they're experiencing today?
Absolutely, Norman. So to your point, the number one challenge that we hear manufacturers in the US and elsewhere facing today is the lack of trained workers, right? It's hard to find just folks who would be willing to come to the factory and do these repetitive, semi-repetitive jobs. And often this does create an opportunity for folks that are relatively untrained, folks that may be disabled and so on. But then the problem arises that, they are not trained. Some of them might be relatively less motivated, or at least less hesitant or a bit hesitant to work on the factory floor. And what we empower them to do is a good job. We allow them to get trained on the job. The vision is that an operator hits an assembly line, hits a workstation, and within 10 minutes they should be able to get productive and start creating, adding value to your lines, to your products, uh, and at a very high quality level, right? So what we do is use cameras and AI to observe an assembly process, and the camera-based system autonomously understands every step of the assembly process. If it notices an assembly operator making a mistake, the system offers live alerts to them. While they're doing the job, it can offer augmented interactions, augmented guidance to them on how to perform the next job, next step of the process. And at the same time, we are collecting timing metrics, we are collecting video data, we are collecting health and safety related data to help IEs, industrial and quality engineers, improve these processes as well, balance the line better, uh, identify non-value added work, and accelerate root cause analysis so that they can improve these processes.
Zishan, I just wanted to jump in here and say that this should have been music to everybody's ears when they heard all those things that you said. That's like, it's the magic formula that we all want. I mean, you could bring a worker in, they would understand the tools, they'd understand the process, it would identify if they were making mistakes, but it's empowering the employees. And I'm sure we'll get to this more, but I'm curious about the feedback you've had from some of your customers.
Absolutely. So customers have tended to love this, right? They see it and they immediately have that aha moment. Yes, this is what we'd like to deploy. This is the next in work instructions. This is how poker yoke systems should be. This is how industrial engineering should be done. And we've had great response. We've been deploying rapidly, expanding rapidly across automotive parts, hardware, appliances, electronics, medical devices. So it's been a great journey. We've just been around for 4 years, but it's been an amazing experience getting to learn about so many different verticals within manufacturing, and getting the chance to see just what an amazing impact manufacturing itself makes, and then how we can assist manufacturing operations be better, essentially.
As an industrial engineer myself, when I heard Pokio, that was music to my ears. And I'm sure there's plenty of folks that are watching this video who are also singing for joy, right? That's definitely fail-safing methods is critical with any discrete manufacturing operation. I'm very much interested to learn more about digital Pokiokes.
Yep.
And how that's able to be used without slowing down operations.
Yeah, absolutely. What we do is a camera observing an operation. If a mistake is made, we offer alerts to the operator, but not only do we offer alerts, we also provide plugins to basically this OPC UA plugins that allow our software to talk to existing equipment on your lines. It can talk to PLCs, it can stop a line, it can, we provide direct plug and play for several kinds of devices like light towers and so on, that allow you to, alert the worker, as well as literally stop, like I said, right, stop a conveyor belt, for instance, from moving, stop a robot from moving, for instance, or just get feedback and do certain things in a certain manner as incorrect operation is observed on the line.
One other question, Zishan, and I want to shift gears briefly here. You mentioned that retrocausal has been around for about 4 years. Your career spans a lot more years than that, with a wealth of experience. Can you discuss a bit about your personal journey with where you began and how it led you to starting retrocausal, specifically talking through some of the lessons you learned, sometimes the hard way, and how you've also leveraged those learnings and those insights to better support and to better help your customers.
Absolutely. So I started my career as as an electrical engineering undergrad student in Germany, Munich, and I was fortunate to get funded. So my studies were actually funded by a company called MV Tech GmbH, Machine Vision Technologies GmbH, GmbH. But basically, what that company does is essentially machine vision for product inspection. That was kind of my first introduction to any kind of electrical engineering industry, right? I basically opened my eyes in that space of machine vision applied to manufacturing. Really, I got the chance to work at Siemens for a while. Worked in IoT, or it used to be called other things, wireless sensor networks, or sensor middleware and whatnot. Basically, that's where I started. Went on to do a PhD in computer vision. Moved a little bit out of industrial, manufacturing, and that vertical. Went into self-driving for a bit, self-driving cars and so on. Then basically, worked as a postdoctoral researcher at Imperial College London for a couple of years. Had a small research group doing robotics, and got a little bit of exposure again to some industrial use cases there, but more from the robotics perspective. From there, I moved to the US, to to Silicon Valley. That's basically where I've met one of my two co-founders for Retrocausal, and we built this. We built a bunch of self-driving capabilities. Actually, shipped them that are in hundreds of thousands of cars that are on the road today. And from there, moved to Microsoft. In between, also worked at at a company that later got acquired by PTC. Doing augmented reality software for enterprises. But throughout this journey, technically, on the technical side, my training is more on the real-time computer vision side, right? How can you understand whatever is going on right there and then in real time? It's challenging. Also, in the form of autonomous driving, for instance, right? You're not allowed to make mistakes. Your algorithms cannot make mistakes, right? That's on the technical side. That's been an interest, and on the customer facing side, I've had the chance to work with manufacturers from day one, right? In the form of that machine vision software space, moving on to that IoT kind of on industrial IoT space. And the learnings have been that although I talk a lot about technology, the learnings have been really that there's no replacing human talent. Number one, right? It's very yes, the rhetoric is that robots are coming, they're going to replace humans. That's not really the case. We are still multiple almost half a dozen paradigm shifts away from a place where you will have really adaptable robots that could really replace humans. And those half a dozen paradigms, I don't see them happening in the next 2 decades, right? So it's far away. You still have humans will still be the main main powerhouse that will empower a number of different verticals. Frontline workers are very much going to be valuable. And at the same time, I learned that it's hard to change human behavior, right? So you can't expect humans to just comply with something that's unnatural, right? You need to, your systems need to adapt to humans as opposed to the other way around, right? Humans are always going to find it hard to do something that's very unnatural to them, right? So those two learnings essentially are what also led us to found Retrocausal, I would say, right? The systems we build, we make sure that a process is as it is. We don't expect the human to. We allow a fair bit of flexibility in how processes are performed, and still we want to ensure that the human operator has that support, a supporting system that is allowing them to get rid of mental mental weight, right? They don't mental fatigue, where they are having to work on something very complicated build, and still the system can make sure that it's able to assist them and support them.
You see, Jean, I just wanted to jump in here with the idea that you're empowering employees, but again, you're not making them adapt to an unnatural work environment or goggles or a certain way to move, but actually your technology allows them to do their own natural movement, and it probably doesn't interfere with them at all, other than so it must adapt, have a flexibility to adapt to whatever the individual is doing, as long as it's generally and specifically correct. But it must have some latitude for differences, I guess.
Yes, sir, absolutely. So that's the AI algorithms that we've developed are exactly, they've appeared in several peer-reviewed publications. They have won awards at the top scientific competitions and conferences, and at the same time, they've been actually deployed on real factory settings, right? Which is where the rubber hits the road, really, right? We are able to understand a variety of human motions, right? We are able to understand the diversity in which operators perform assembly processes. Some people are left-handed, some people are right-handed, some people want to perform an operation in a certain manner, some people would want to prefer to move a bin here instead of there, right? We are able to accommodate all of those nuances, right? Some people just prefer to do an operation in a slightly different order, in a slightly different variation, and our algorithms are really able to adapt to all of those variations in which operators would naturally want to perform operations, right? As opposed to being that kind of rigid structure where you exactly have to follow a certain procedure and everything has to be placed in an exacting manner, right? That sort of thing never really flies in our experience.
I appreciate the people-centric approach that retrocausal takes, and how it's highly tailored and customized for the user and the type of operation they're performing, versus one rigid, one-size-fits-all approach. Have you found any insights or value from the voice of the operator and that feedback as it informs the algorithms that you're designing and developing?
100%. We have constantly integrated a long list. We have integrated a long list of suggestions from operators, as well as just observing where our software was failing in assisting the operators. Like I said, from incorporating this long list of variations that we support, to building user experiences that are more accommodating, that are really helpful for the operators, right? Being able to display the right thing at the right moment in our user interfaces, being able to from there to figuring out that in many cases operators are not always going to be looking at a screen, right? Hey, can we deliver guidance right there on the workstation itself, right? With projected guidance, from there to seeing that in some cases, as processes evolve, health and safety related issues become more problematic, simply because often when you're laying out a factory, you will do ergonomic analysis and so on. But over time, those records are not kept in check. You're not constantly updating them, and you can have repetitive stress injuries, other kinds of injuries develop in operators, right? We have incorporated a bunch of those in there as well, a bunch of those kinds of analysis tools in the platform as well. All of these things have actually, all of these suggestions have actually come from operators themselves, right? I'll give you one concrete example that we are literally working on this week, which is this and-on card capability within the software itself, right? Within our software, we are implementing something where the operator will be able to inform or call their manager or report something, and in a very convenient manner, as well as potentially call our customer support right there on their workstation from the comfort of their workstation, right? Without having to do anything else, through whatever display is available or a button that is available on their line. Incredibly easy to deploy, plug and play, right? Again, something that literally came from an operator's from an operator's mouth, right? So basically,
That's incredible. I just wanted to ask, with at the time we're speaking, ChatGPT was launched a few months ago, and Google is about to launch Bard, but we haven't seen it quite yet. But you've been in this AI space for quite some time, and as I'm sure the excitement from the public is interesting, but has it changed how you're thinking about AI and its applications?
Yeah, so we see AI as, AI applications as we divide AI applications into two big buckets, right? One bucket is that of predictive AI applications, and one is that of generative AI applications, right? Predictive AI, as in, again, more broadly speaking, right? You have a cat picture or a dog picture, and you want the AI to classify them into cat and dog, or you're driving down the road and you want your car to be able to identify the lane it's in, right? And whether other cars are coming into your lane, right? So just interpreting, predicting what it is seeing in a piece of input, right? That's one kind of application for in our case, a camera observing a manual assembly operation and understanding every step of that process. That's predictive AI. And then you have generative AI, where you can type, where you can ask the system about some piece of text, and you can collaboratively generate some content, some copy, or you can create images, you can create videos, you can potentially create 3D models, and so on. Yes, the recent revolution in AI, in generative AI, has also been informing us, right? It was always a dream for us, and we'd been actually working with this with some industry leaders in simulation, in the 3D simulation space, to be able to offer, to move more and more towards prescriptive analytics, right? In the sense of understanding processes, or allowing engineers to collaborate on processes, helping them design processes, right? Ask very large databases of processes how they could improve them, how they could leverage that knowledge. So we've been working on a couple of projects internally that we'll be able to talk about soon. What we see is that in industrial engineering, a lot is still done very, very manually, right? If you are a big manufacturer, imagine you are Toyota and you have 200 factories. You still, and you're a leader in lean and everything, but you still represent all of your process improvement exercises, all your Kaizen events in Excel sheets and whatnot, right? And it's very, very hard for that knowledge to flow through your organization. You are in factory A, you do a Kaizen event and you are able to improve a certain kind of a process. And then there is some other industrial engineer in factory B, and they have no idea what you did, right? Even if you do communicate stuff, right, it's really, really hard to just do that kind of filtration and retrieval and analysis and so on. So we've been working on tools that basically allow you to take all of that knowledge and allow any industrial engineer to very quickly query that knowledge, or without querying that knowledge, automatically propagate improvement opportunities across to the right kind of people, simply because it's very, it's by exposing it, as opposed to, keeping it hidden away in these, hard to parse data structures like Excel sheets.
Thanks for bringing up ChatGPT, Kirk. I know it's taking over the headlines. I mean, my LinkedIn feed is just, it's all ChatGPT and OpenAI. It is definitely a very exciting new frontier that we're entering into.
100%. Yeah.
And Zishan, I'm sure you're aware, but Camps is comprised of small and mid-sized manufacturers. And I can just imagine some small business owners are thinking, man, this AI stuff is really neat, very, very cool. And I can see the benefits of it, but it may be a bit out of reach for my company, being that we're so small with limited resources. From your experience, could you share some recommended use cases for how a small business could utilize AI?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, small businesses often have, from what we have learned, interacting with some relatively small to medium-sized manufacturers, has been that these manufacturers will often have higher mix assembly, right, as opposed to very high volume, low mix, right? You'll have high mix, relatively lower volumes. And one challenge in those settings is quality control becomes an even bigger pain point, simply because the operator is not doing the exact same process every minute of every day, right? The operators are doing doing slightly different things. Sometimes it might literally be build to order manufacturing. You might have 100 SKUs that you offer, right? Every SKU with slight variations, and the same operator is having to build that very high mix, is building 7 different kinds of product, I don't know, 50 units a day, 7 different kinds of units, right? And inevitably mistakes happen. You'll typically have PDFs or actual printed instructions, which might slow down your workers on the other hand, right? If they have to actually pull that information up and so on. So one way that we've found we can help them is by, again, digitizing their work instructions and enabling them to be to incorporate this kind of quality control even in that high mix configuration, high mix situation, right? You can use things like barcode scanners, or if you don't have an MES system, right, a very sophisticated MES system, we bring everything in that kind of standalone package to you, right? Use a barcode scanner. We can help with system setup and so on as well, right? Use that barcode scanner to input which build you are doing right now. Obviously, if you do have an MES system, we can pull that information straight in and guide the worker accordingly, right? Tell the worker, hey, we are building SKU A instead of SKU B instead of SKU C, and hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and so on and so forth. So we found that we start with very small. We understand that manufacturing is a different beast. Even when we are working with the biggest manufacturers, we don't go to them and we don't offer them 20 licenses to begin with, right? We'll start with POCs. Similarly, we have smaller packages where you can buy as few as 2 workstations from us, 2 workstation licenses from us. Our stuff works with commodity hardware. If you have a camera, it will work with that. If you don't have a camera, you go out and buy a $30 webcam and so on. And again, companies that are local, we have a lot of support, support staff available within our Redmond office that we can send out. But always excited about the opportunity of actually going into these factories and figuring out how we can help them. So would love if more and more camps members would just ring us up and have us on site, and we can then take it from there.
Zishan, that's a great invitation, by the way. I was just having a conversation with the manufacturer who they manufacture similar things, but every piece is custom. And so you answered the question that I had, but this idea that you're looking for use cases that could challenge your system, I think is a great opportunity.
100%, absolutely. And by the way, we have a workshop here in Redmond right? We are more, we are always inviting folks to just come down. We have a bunch of workstations here, right, where we are trying to mock up several kinds of assemblies that we are really deployed on at bigger manufacturers, right? So just come down, right? We can show you the system in action in multiple situations, right? You don't have to fly with us to Michigan or Juarez or Mexico City or Tijuana to see those implementations, right? We have them right in your backyard, right? Always happy to show folks, let them play with this stuff themselves, right? So they know that this is not vaporware, right? One thing that we love to do is have somebody, an executive especially, come to one of our workstations, and we won't tell them to do anything. They'll just come on the workstation, and they'll follow the instructions that they're seeing and take an assembly job from zero to finished, entirely on their own, right? It may sound a little bit intimidating, but it's fun. Always welcome folks at our Redmond site. That's another way to actually come in and check out several kinds of use cases that we are really deployed against, and that we can map things out from there.
Wonderful.
We'll take that as an open invitation for the executives to come and take that challenge on. So I'll throw that to my boss, Dan Koester, as well, and we'll get him out there.
Absolutely.
High mix, low volume. I mean, you're speaking our language, Zishan. A large number of CAMPS members, a lot of the discrete manufacturers that Koester partners with are dealing with that high mix, low volume type of operation. So I think that's a great teaser that you mentioned today. We'll let the rest of the folks dial into our April Innovation Forum meeting to actually get a demo of the platform and all the benefits that can come from it. So I just want to plug our upcoming April Innovation Forum meeting. We meet the first Wednesday of the month. So for April, that'll be April 5th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And we'll put registration information within the description of this video, as well as Retrocausal's website. So you can preview their videos there, as well as learn more about the various platforms and solutions that they offer. But with that, I do want to thank Zishan one more time for taking the time to meet with us. I really appreciate all the insight and information you shared today. And Kirk and I definitely are very excited to have you speak at our upcoming Innovation Forum meeting on April 5th.